We call this special news conference to announce the new plans that we have for this year. And so that also you, the fourth estate, you can help us champion some of the causes that we have and also help inform the stakeholders. To begin with, I want to start with the right to pray. As per the United Nations Convention of 1989, I hope you'll give you a copy, every child has the right to pray. The right to pray meaning sports, leisure, and what have you. And when we go to schools, a child has got a right to pray for at least 1 hour in a day. And for that one to happen, schools must provide facilities for each child to pray for at least 1 hour in a day. But as you know, our schools have very many children, and this one has not been possible. But we are here to champion the cause, to advocate for these children's rights. And good enough, the new lower secondary curriculum provides enough time for prayer. Whereas under the old curriculum, children would read and go to class from morning to evening, even at night. The new lower secondary school curriculum that has now reached Senior 4 gives a lot of time for children to pray. This is very welcome, and we hope that it will go a long way in ensuring that the children's right to pray is protected. Now, even then, the new sports law, for those of you whom you know, which has just been passed last year, also provides that every school in the country must have, that is the secondary school should have infrastructure for at least 15 different sports. Now, we as USSA now, we are advocating for the following. We are working with our stakeholders through physical education and sports, and then the Ministry of Education. We are organizing for meetings, and we are advocating for everything. For the following. One, that sports day becomes mandatory in every school, so that every school must have at least a sports day, one sports day in a year. This one should become mandatory. And also that each school should participate in at least 3 inter-school competitions in a year. When I talk of 3 inter-school competitions, normally inter-school competition starts from the lower level, sometimes which we call zones, before they go to districts. So at least a school should have 3 teams which participate in inter-school competitions. And then lastly, we have realized that schools, even those with big playgrounds, because of the big numbers, the grass cannot survive. Schools now need artificial turf. But our research has led to the fact that artificial turf, its importation is highly taxed. But we are told that there are some scholastic materials are exempted from tax. Now that it is the right of children to pray, and now that sports is the co-curricular activity, we are also advocating through the Ministry of Education and Sports that artificial turf in schools, for schools, should be classified as scholastic material, and for that reason, it should be tax-free. Now, this takes me now to competition format. Now, we have now adapted the new competition format. We tried it last year, and we found it works. Now, during our championship, we shall first play in groups. Then after groups, we normally go to what we call classification games. But the classification games this time will cater for the following, that the fact that all schools, all teams from the beginning to the end, they will have to play the same number of matches. So, implying that every position has to be competed for. For example, like football, where we have 64 teams, we can decide to divide them into 16 groups, each groups of 4, 4, 4, 4. Now, once they have played, the number ones will form another group and go to compete. The number twos will form other group, and then the number three form another group. Number four form another group, so that at the end of the day, when these ones are playing for group of 16, group of 8, group of semifinals and finals, also the number fours are doing the same. So that at the end of the day, we have from number 1 up to number 64, and each position has been competed for. Number 2, we have been having, for example, football. We have been playing for 2 weeks, that is for 15 days. But under the new format, where all children play for the same number of matches and we have classification games, that means that for football competition, we shall now play it for 9 days, competition days. Competition rules, we have drafted the new rules as the USSA. They have gone through all our structures, and we have released them to the PACE to confirm them. Once they are confirmed, the commissioner will append his signature to the rules and regulations, and then they will be used for this year. But the good news is that this year there are not many changes, apart from the fact that in the new rules, we are providing for 2025, because we need our schools to prepare themselves. In 2025, we are limiting the number of foreign players to be used on a team. Not on a team, but on court at a certain time. Why are we doing this? We have discovered that there are some, whereas USSA is doing all it takes and using government funds to prepare our players, there are some schools, because they want to win, they go out of the country, they bring teams from out of the country simply to play, for example, football or basketball or volleyball. And in so doing, they deny our people a chance to be promoted. We don't mind if the foreigner is studying in Uganda, and that's why we are not abolishing foreigners from playing, but we are limiting them from playing a certain number. So for each category of games, we are going to release a list on the number of players that can be on court at the same time. And then secondly, we are also limiting the number of athletes. We have discovered that there are some schools, even in schools, you find a school has more than 1,500 students, 2,000, but they do not develop their own players. But at the end of every year, they go to another school, take away the players, and sometimes taking the whole team. So from 2025, we are limiting this, and we are saying that only a maximum of 2 players for a certain sport can move from one school to another. If more than 2 move, that means the others will not be licensed to play for that school. We began with elite games. Then we shall go for, in April, we shall, in end of April, we shall go for fresh diary games, and also for national boys football championship. After that, we shall go for national ball games too. Then we are also going to host FIASA games here. But before that, we have the swimming championship. So it is a very tight schedule. We also have capacity building. So we have released the activity plan. And when you check on our website, a detailed activity plan for all our activities is there. Online registration. Normal registration opened on the 1st of January this year. And it will close on the 29th of February. That is normal registration. So we are requesting and appealing to every school in the country to go to our portal, a USSA portal, and register any new prayer they may get, and also renew the registration of their old prayers. If a prayer was from your school and you are renewing his or her registration, it is very easy. If he is from another school, then the registration can be done at national level after you have presented the release letter from the former school, when the present schools are not going to use them. In the future also, we shall put a cap on the number of prayers from a school registered into a system. We have not reached that level. We are still monitoring because there are no schools which have registered so many. Because sometimes schools put so many prayers, they deny those prayers from to pray, and they also deny them from other schools. Only duly registered prayers into our system will take part in the championship this year. I have to inform you that last year, in the first registration, we registered 120,000 prayers as it is. In the second registration, we registered about 35,000. So that means within our registration, within our database, we have about 16,160,000 prayers. Now this year, all those, if they are going to be used and they are still in the school, their registration have to be reconfirmed again, and those others can be allowed to move to other schools. Now, once we have finished registration and closed the registration, we shall now release albums to the districts, and we shall request the districts only to allow those prayers on those albums who are those albums that will have been released by us to be used. So this time we hope that there will be no forgeries, because the albums will come from us. They will be stamped and signed by the CEO, and I hope that one cannot easily be forged. And when there is a problem, we shall also open our system so that any school which wants to get information about any other prayer can get it. We are doing this because we want to make sure that only students pray, and only those people of age should also be the ones to pray. We trained 7,524. And all of these have got certificates of attendance from USSA, but most importantly, they have certificates from the national federations, because the instructors who instructed them came from the federations, and they have certificates from the federations. We also trained 108 for level 2 in refereeing and umpiring in football, netball, volleyball, and basketball. Now, these two, some of these ones, we use them in elite games. And believe you me, this is a game changer. Because much as the students whom we use, the students themselves who appreciated the games. Of course, some of them would make a few mistakes, but they would be laughed off. At the end of the day, we had the champion elite games in Jinja. It ended very well, and everybody was satisfied with the way these children were officiating. And going forward, this year, the bulk of officiating officials in our championships will be students themselves. This year again, we have already held camps, training camps for athletics. One at Old Kampala, and then another one at the High Altitude Center in Kapchorwa. In Old Kampala, we had 66, and in Kapchorwa, we had 72 athletes for athletics. The 66 will definitely help us in Fiasa Games, in all athletics, but also the 72, we are training them because we are going to participate in the ISF World Schools Cross Country that will take place in Nairobi in May. Uganda will enter 48 of these, and we hope to work very hard to make sure that we get the trophy from Nairobi. Now, The other thing is that I've already said this, that the bulk of officiating officials for all our championship will come from the students and our teachers that we have trained. And the good news here also is that 15 of our capacity building referees have been selected for Confederation of Africa volleyball training. So you can see now they are going to higher levels. In the country, we had very few officiating officials for volleyball. Sometimes we would struggle during our championship. But we are happy with the federation, with the federation for volleyball, because they have picked 15 of them for the higher training at Africa level. Now, the other good news is that because we have trained very many coaches as students, we have trained very many young reporters who are students themselves. We have also trained very many referees and medical personnel who are students themselves. Now, each team at national level will have to come with one student who has been trained by us, who will act as an assistant coach. There will also be one student who is a referee, whom we shall put in the pool of officiating officials. And also, every school will come with a young reporter, also trained with us, and with equipment to report and keep the school community informed about the games. We hope this one will go a long way. And also, of course, the media person. There will be a media person and then a health person. We have allocated slots to different regions and districts. And this one we have done in according to last year's slot allocation. As you very well know, we have got 19 zones in the country. Now, the 19 zones do not have the same number of slots. For example, usually Wakiso has the highest number of slots in some games, sometimes followed by Kampala, and then Masaka. How do we get the number of zones? We do it according to the last year's slot allocation, but also we look at according to last year's slot allocation. So if we gave you 5 slots last year, and you utilized only 3, we may cut your slot allocation from 5 to what? Because there are some schools which qualify from certain zones and they end up not coming for our national championship. So those zones suffer a slot slash. Also, we look at last year's level of competition. Now, those zones that had more teams, for example, in semifinals, in quarterfinals, and such, end up getting more slots this year. Also, in according to last year's level of competition in zones, because we are now computerized, we are able to know how many teams participated in every zone. Now, the zones where there is a higher level of competition end up getting higher slots at national level. And also, we also consider the interest of the developing sports across the country. Much as some zones may not have a lot of activity, we also still give them a minimum number of slots so that sports can also develop in that region. Now, we were suffering last year, we suffered our tournament. Sometimes some schools did not stick to our deadlines for confirmation. This year we are making confirmations more strict, and we have issued deadlines for confirmation for all competitions. Now, once the deadline has passed, then the slots can be given to any other school, but the preference being given to the schools in the same zone. When we fail to get schools in the same zone, we will give those slots to other schools in other zones. Zones are now requested to monitor confirmation of their teams for national competitions so that they can submit replacements in a time. Replacements will be conducted at national level immediately after the expiry of the deadline. Special needs. As USSA, we give opportunity to all. So we are this year, beginning with this year, we are introducing games for special needs. We shall also continue to participate in games for special needs at FIASA level, at Africa level, and also at international level, that is international school sports level. Screening. Students who study in the schools who are also of age are the ones who participate in our games. And because of that, in addition to the registration procedures, we are going to continue to have screening. Now we shall have pre-screening, tournament pre-screening, and also screening during the championship to make sure that we screen out all those students that are not supposed to participate in our games. Our tournaments. Some people have been confusing the names of our tournaments. I want to state here the names of our tournaments so that when you are reporting on them, you report in the correct way. The first one, which we have already had, is USSA, which is Uganda Secondary School Sports Association Elite Games. Now, those are the games which are participated in at the beginning of the year. It is the curtain raiser. And we invite the teams which will have participated well in the previous year to participate in this game. These games have already taken place in Jinja, and as I've told you, they attracted very big crowds. And they were very good. The schools which participated in them benefited so much. The second one is Fresh Diary Secondary School Games. These games are sponsored by Fresh Diary. Fresh Diary has the naming rights. The third category is Secondary School National Football Boys Championship. This is the championship which used to be sponsored by Coca-Cola. We are now looking for a new sponsor. We have been approached by very many companies, but our standards are very high. Our standards are very high. When we are through, we shall announce the new sponsors, but even new ones are invited on board. Then we also have what we call Secondary School National Ball Boys Ball Games 2, which will be played in July. And then lastly, we have Secondary School National Swimming Gala. When you check on our website, we already inspected the facilities for hosting all these games, and we have confirmed the schools to host all these games, and I can confirm here that preparations are going on, and we are going to have the best championship ever. In addition to this, Uganda will participate in international school sports games. We shall participate in a volleyball, in World Volleyball Championship that will take place in Belgrade. And this will be at the end of, I think, end of April. Yes. Then we shall also take part in what we call the World Cup. It is called the ISF World Cup. And it is for schools. It will take place in Dalian, China. Uganda will field 2 boys teams and 2 girls teams. We shall inform you after confirmation. We are now in the confirmation process, but of course the champions were invited, the champions of at national level, and also champions at the FIASA level. Once we have finished the confirmation, we shall inform you. And also, we also have, I told you, in World Schools Basketball Championship, that is in Dalian. Okay, that is in Basketball Mackay. That basketball is also taking place in Mackay, and will be from 23rd June up to 3rd July. Then we also have the Gymnasiad Games, which will take place in Bahrain from October 23rd to 31st. And then we also have, there's also ISF, World Schools Cross Country, that will take place in Nairobi, Kenya. And it will be from 10th to 15th of May. So we are going to, in those games, we shall cost share. We shall cost share with schools. And the cost sharing means the government of Uganda, through Uganda Secondary School Sports Association, will cater for all the feeding and accommodation to make sure that these students are in 5-star hotels, while in those countries, yes. Yeah, in the ISF we stay in a 5-star what? Hotels. I can confirm to you that I've just come from Dalian, China, and the facilities which are going to be used are 5-star what? 5-star standard. Even the praying venue is 5-star. Yes. We shall also do the dressing for all the teams, because all the teams have to be dressed in the national colors. We have to make sure they have uniform, they have tracksuits, they have bags, and they have everything. We also make sure that we take care, for example, for athletics, that is the national team, we take care of it fully. And so on and so on. Then the teams, the schools, the OBs, the schools, the parents will have to contribute and make sure that the children get tickets. And once there is confirmation that the school has paid for tickets, then the government will go on to enter the teams and make sure that they are well catered for. We shall also make sure that there is also pocket money for every child that moves out of the country. Now, weekend secondary school leagues. Now, our child teams that are knocked out at the district level, for example, they normally play for 1 month. Those who are knocked at lower levels, maybe for 2 weeks, and then they wait for the coming year. And because we are schooled in sports, we know that's not enough time for a child to develop his talent. So we are providing for what we call weekend leagues, which can run now throughout the year. And those leagues will be for only neighboring schools, and they will be monitored at the district level. We are also releasing information about these leagues on our website. We are also advocating for having sports clubs in schools. In a school, for example, you can have clubs for football. Now, these clubs for football, they play leagues during their 1 hour or 2 hours, and then every Monday or Friday during assembly, their leagues are updated and read, and then at the end of the year or the end of the term, the winning club is announced. We hope that this one will keep children busy in schools, and then their talent will definitely come up. Finally, I want to brief you about partnership with primary schools. We have children ranging normally from the age of 13 up to the age of 20. But when you come to go to talent identification and development, it is something that is supposed to start much earlier, maybe at the age of 7. So in order to make sure that there is a talent identification and development early, we have had to partner with primary schools, and we are making partnership in capacity building. We are making partnership in training camps. We are making partnership in administration and event management. And finally, we have got a go-ahead from the line ministry to form a school sports federation. A school sports federation is a body which brings together primary schools and secondary schools. And we are doing this because the International School Sports Federation and also Africa School Sports Body cannot admit one school body from each country. So we are forming a body above our USSA and above Uganda Primary School Sports Association. We are making another body which will bring them together, and that's that body now that will be affiliated to the International School Sports Body. For those of you who have been going for FIASA games, you know, whereas it is only USSA that is affiliated to FIASA, you know, we also have primary games there. This time, we shall have one school sports body, and it is that sports body that will be affiliated to international bodies. Having said this, I want to once again thank you, the forces state. We have done a lot together, and I want to assure you that our programs, when done the way we are doing them, they are going to change the landscape of sports in this country. We are touching every federation. We are making it sure that every child gets a chance to play, that his talent is identified and developed at the right time. And we hope that in a few years to come, the results will be seen from the way our teams will be winning at international level. I thank you so much.